And the way that I know this is because the first status that I saw was, what's the point of a girlfriend when you can fuck unlimited bitches? I was like, what?
No, so I actually don't believe that. I don't believe it's a human being that actually put that as a Facebook.
No, that is a real. It was something along those lines. My name's Monish, and I'm your main host. Welcome to Real Talk. So the question today is, how exactly does social media affect your friendships, and how can you use social media in a healthy way, right? This episode is awesome. Man, I've had Facebook since I was a kid, and I've grown up with Facebook. I've grown up with social media, and it's wild. It's the worst. It's both blessing and curse. Definitely tune in. I'm in this video with Kevin and Army. It's a good one.
Cox. You know, I don't know what's there to say about him.
Yeah. Open question. How many of you guys have an Instagram account?
I do.
How many of you guys have a Twitter account?
I do.
How many of you guys have a Facebook account?
I got one of them too.
So
I got Facebooks everywhere.
I got all kinds of Facebooks running around these
How many of you guys got
parts, boy.
Snapchat?
You're goddamn right. I got
By the way,
Snapchat.
Army, I've never gotten the Snapchat from you, so we've got a.
I'm a lurker.
Yeah,
I just hang around there watching other people's snaps.
I'll send you a
Lots
few.
of other people's stories run by down the trail.
No one who's listening to that got that because they did not see the trucker hat. But in case you're wondering, Kevin's wearing a trucker hat, which is, yeah.
I'm just being myself.
Cool.
Impressive.
I want to start off with saying that social media is huge. I remember when I was pretty sure I was 13, and I was begging my parents to allow me to get a Facebook account. And I was like, please, I really want a Facebook account.
Mom, I just want to be a normal kid.
Mom, I want to get likes. I want to post this.
Wait. So you had to actually, your parents monitored your social media use?
They didn't monitor it, but they, my sister and, I mean, I was 13. I feel like I was so young. I shouldn't even be online.
Why you had to ask,
I should
though?
be. No, it was more like they didn't. I mean, it's like if you're a parent and you don't want your kid like having a profile when he's 13, right? Like, it's so close to 12.
I understand. My dad's the same way. I was a little under the radar. You know what I'm saying? I was doing, you know what I'm saying, black ops around the corner. You feel me?
Right. But I got the social media account, and I remember I just. It was like people added me as a friend that I wasn't really friends with, but they added me anyway, and I remember feeling really good about that. Now, I think the huge thing about social media is that basically social media is a hammer, right? It can be used to hammer nails, like do its job, or it can be used to basically hit yourself repeatedly in the face until you lose consciousness and find yourself in the ER. I feel like everybody really, right, that's what I'm using Facebook for. I feel like everyone kind of either has very strong opinions about social media, and I think that the dominant narrative about social media is that, like, oh, the young people these days, they're on the Facebook and they're tweeting their Snapchats and they're snapping,
Facebooks and
they're
their
snapping their
Twitters.
Instagrams and they're right. And social media can definitely be the worst. But let's start with the bright side. Kevin, how has social media helped improve your life?
I mean, the first thing that comes to mind when I think of the positive aspects of social media is just staying connected to friends. I mean, it's a networking tool, and I think it's a massive social utility for maintaining friendships over greater distances. Like, for example, all my close friends from back home, I still connect with them through Facebook primarily. There's just not enough time in the day to be talking to them on the phone or, getting on a Skype call with them, but you can still see what's going on in their lives and they can see what's going on in my life just by peeping my Facebook every once in a while. Or
give them a little give them a little poke.
Give the IG a little.
I'm pretty sure no one uses the poke feature anymore. I don't know if that's still. Do people still poke people? Is that a thing?
I've gotten into extensive poke wars in the recent weeks. Really? But I think it's pretty abnormal, yeah.
Yeah. So it's crazy because you mentioned you can reconnect with friends. The cool thing is you can reconnect with friends that are nowhere the fuck near you. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
And old friends, right, that you haven't seen in forever. I had my best friend from preschool. Somehow he popped up just on like people you may know. He's from Missouri. I haven't seen this guy. We were best friends for like 2 years, and then I moved to third grade, right? And then I moved to somewhere else, right? And so literally it was like 18 years had elapsed between us that we had. Not 18 years. That means we were like two. Like a solid 10 plus years had elapsed. And I remember going on his face. I added him on Facebook. And I reached out to him like, dude, do you remember me? And he's like, absolutely. And the thing that made me so sad, though, first of all, if you're on Facebook and you can rekindle old friendships really well. It's really good for that.
Yeah.
But the crazy thing is that I realized this kid was the biggest douchebag, like in the 10 years that we were like just and the way that I know this is because the first status that I saw was, what's the point of a girlfriend when you can fuck unlimited bitches? I was like, what?
No, so I actually don't believe that. I don't believe it's a human being that actually put that as a Facebook.
No, that is a real. It was something along those lines, and I remember they're like his friends were like some of his friends were like, "Yeah, dog, that's fucking raw." And then some girl commented like, "That's like so inappropriate." Like, I should say his fucking name. My bad. But no, like basically, just for the listener out there, just so you know, if you haven't seen a friend in a while, prepare to be disappointed or really ecstatic to catch up with them.
Good story, Monish. You'll like this one. Facebook is probably one of the only reasons I reconnected with a good childhood friend of mine. His name's Jack, and me and him were best friends when I moved to my elementary school in second grade. And
D-Jack.
He moved on to another school, and we kind of lost touch around 5th or 6th grade. And I didn't talk to him for years. And then all of a sudden, I want to say he just friend requested me one day on Facebook, accepted it, and we talked for a while. And we still didn't really connect. It was kind of just a how have you been type thing. But then a couple years later, we would kind of occasionally post on each other's wall regarding some sort of shared childhood interest.
Yeah.
Absolutely. My senior year of high school, he messages me and we start talking and we hang out one day and we realize we're going to the same university. So then we just say, fuck it. We room together. And then 2 years after that, through Jack, I meet Monish. Boom! So basically, Facebook created this podcast.
Dude, it's funny tracking back. Like, if I didn't go to the University of Illinois, if I didn't join certain groups, this podcast would not have happened. Mark Zuckerberg literally created this podcast.
Thanks, Marky Mark.
Appreciate it.
You should probably start paying him royalties. You might, Matthew.
Just a check shows up on his door from like three fucking 20-year-olds. He's like, what the fuck is this? This is
they just sent me a check for $20. I don't get it.
It's funny, if we sent him there was something, if we sent him a check for $20 in the mail, the amount of time that it would take him to go up to his mailbox, open the mailbox, take the check, and cash in the check, Absolutely. It would literally not be worth his time in literal monetary value. You would be losing money. Like, it wouldn't be worth it. Like, if Bill Gates dropped a $20 bill or $200 bill on the ground, the time it takes to pick that up, not even worth his time.
That's so depressing. I don't even want to-
That's how rich he is. That's how insanely rich he is. Yeah, the cool thing about, by the way, also about social media is that it's I don't know, it's kind of like it's magic, pretty much. It's fast as shit. You can talk to anyone in the world. Oh my God, it's insane. Like, I feel like Louis C.K. has a great bit how we're just like basically a bunch of, like, there can be amazing.
One of my favorite bits.
Yeah, where it's like basically there's just amazing technology and it's wasted on the laziest, most awful, most ungrateful pieces of shits ever in the entire world. Where we're like just some amazing advancing technology will happen and we'll be like, oh, it's not fast enough. It's not. Oh, it's 3-second lag. And
where
some people
talks about him.
Complain constantly about Skype outages and stuff like that, and just lose their shit.
We're just totally us. You know? Totally us. We're just like,
I don't remember that ever happening.
But yeah, no, I mean, the cool thing about Facebook is that it's also a beautifully designed tool. I mean, we're talking about Facebook. We're trying to talk about social media in general, but it can provide the string to help you pick relationships back up, right? So So say you haven't talked to someone in 5 months, right? There is sort of that 5 months serves as a very hard buffer between you two, right? Meaning that there's sort of this invisible resistance between you two. Facebook, you just see statuses, you just see updates. It provides a string and an avenue to reconnect, right? So say me and Kevin, I don't know, Kevin says, I don't like Indians, and he rips my dick off, right? So, and I'm like, oh, damn it, I can't have kids, and I'm really mad at him. We don't talk for 5 months, right? And then I see Kevin post a status about, oh, I love it when I rip dicks off brown people. And then I'm like, I like the status, and I'm like, that LOL, you did that to me. And then we reconnect, and we start talking.
That's right, man.
I mean, exactly.
How have you been?
My dick is in a glass box inside your room. No, but basically, social media is a great thread in which to just kind of reconnect with people, and it's really awesome, and it's really it's weirdly invaluable. And me and Army, we're sort of we're in the entrepreneurship space, but making connections, meeting new people. Social media, even LinkedIn, right, is great for that. It to be honest, it's caused a lot of the connections that I've had with people.
It's funny because I think more and more professionals are using Facebook, whereas before I think it was kind of looked at as a juvenile thing. But I think as time goes on, it's becoming more of a utility for professionals to network. It's funny. The other day, Judy Sue from ABC7 News in Chicagoland came to the radio station I work at because she's an alumni there from when she was at this university. And, you know, I talked to her. We had a pretty good conversation. She had good conversations with all the people that were there, kind of giving her the tour of the modern radio station because she hasn't been here in a long time. And what she said to every single person as she was leaving was like, because everybody was, there's a lot of broadcast journalism majors that were talking to her. So they want to go into her career field. I don't personally, but even still, she told me like, hey, you know, if you guys are looking to network and if you want to keep an open line of communication, connect with me on Facebook. Like, you know, like my Facebook page, send me a message, post on my wall, that type of stuff. It's funny because that was the first time that an actual professional, I guess, has directly used Facebook as a tool to connect with potential, I don't know, connections down the road.
Me and Army met. We met in real life, but we basically rekindled the friendship through Facebook. I was like, I wanna be healthy, and I wanna add to my bench, and then Army made me a training program, and then I was like, let's start.
Then we made passionate love.
Then we were like,
you guys said e-sex.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, Manish and I met at a conference, then stayed in touch on Facebook, started talking about the podcast, emailing each other, and it went from there. So that's obviously a good interaction. And I've met a lot of cool people through Facebook, to be honest. So keep that in mind when I say the next part. which is that for the most part, what can you hear?
Yeah, go.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
For the most part, I think that social media, including Facebook and everything, would be more analogous to alcohol rather than a hammer, just because like the way you're supposed to use it, given social norms, or probably the best way to use it is to just drink like a little bit every now and then to get a little buzzed, to enjoy it. But what really everyone does,
little buzzed?
I'm in fucking college, bro.
Who are you?
Bro.
but, yeah, maybe I wouldn't say that's the best way to use it, but I mean, like that's the general way that your society expects you to use it.
Right.
I completely agree. By the way, basically, if you go on Army's Facebook, it's basically a ton of fitness experts and then Spanish shit going on. I'm not really sure which.
I analyzed it that in depth. I did not know that.
What Spanish stuff are you talking about?
No, there's people post Spanish like hola on your. Maybe I'm looking at the wrong Army. I have no idea what. I assume.
Army?
Hola, Army. How you doing? I know.
Army, necesito levantar pesas.
Right. Either way, it's a great tool, but I'm actually completely on Army side. I kind of want to start off the conversation with sort of saying the good things, but sort of be like, first off, I know Army kind of did the research for this one, but from what I gather, the research is super shaky on social media. But essentially, initial research says that if you overuse social media, that's just a bad thing, right? Like it makes you less interested in real life, right? And the thing you were talking about is that it's sort of like alcohol, right? Like Facebook is literally engineered to be addictive. They want you on as many times as possible. They want you to go. They want you to engage with it as many. Like it is literally the end in which they do. Every single engineer there, every person that is designing the website, every person that's making the content that is designed for you to be on Facebook as much as possible.
Right. It's funny. Louis C.K. actually has a pretty insightful bit about that as well, where he says, basically, as humans in 2015, or I mean, whenever he had this bit, we're just so connected to our phones because we have this addiction to social media, and just we feel like we need that connection to other people, and it's like we go insane when we can't look at our phone for 5 minutes. And he basically says, like, just everyone fucking relax and like take 2 minutes to just be by yourself and not be connected to 5 million people. It's okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
it's funny
the
because
other.
I'm very much. I mean, I use social media very frequently. Not like I'm posting all the time, but I mean, I scroll through my Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. I mean, countless times throughout the day. I'd also consider myself a pretty productive human being, but definitely in my downtime, or if I'm walking to class or something, I'll pop open Facebook, and there's no real reason why. It's just kind of that habitual thing where I'm used to opening it and then scrolling through.
Have you opened Facebook and you're like, I didn't even. Like, you're just like, oh, fuck, I'm on Facebook.
Yeah.
You're just like, yeah.
So many times when I just open it and I'm like, wait a minute, I didn't want to go on Facebook. Fuck? God, I'm a piece of shit. But it's totally that connection to other people that I just feel like I'm out of the loop if I don't look at my Facebook. I mean, there's times where if I set my phone down for 20 minutes and I just don't have it readily accessible, I get anxious. And I think that's a problem. That's definitely a personal problem. I think it's a problem with our generation's connection to social media as a whole, too.
Here's the good thing about you, though, that when I'm talking to you, you don't just constantly check your phone, but you're actually in the moment. I remember when I was in love with the principal's daughter. She's very gorgeous, very bubbly, cool girl. And I think me and my best friend were going to hang out with her and her best friend, and then some other guy, one of her friends. And I remember going there, and I remember I was trying to talk to this kid. We'll call him Joey, and I was looking at Joey, and Joey was one of those guys. It's like he's just, you can just tell by his fucking Abercrombie shirt that he's just really into social media and just really into keeping in touch and all that shit. And I remember there was one point when we were talking, and his phone was literally in front. Like haven't met him at all. Like I was just trying to make conversation. Literally, the phone was in his face, and I remember I wanted to
just take a javelin, put it inside of his kidney.
No, I wanted to give him the greatest dick punch of all time. I wanted him to know what it like. Here's the thing, being present in the moment is so important, and I think just to life, but also to just social interaction, right? And when you're looking at your phone constantly, when you're training, just checking social media, your phone buzzes, you look at it, you're training yourself to just constantly be in distraction mode, and you're training your. It's literally a dopamine hit, right? And you become in essence Pavlov's dog, right? The bell is the phone, and you start salivating for the bell, and then you just go, right? That's essentially what's happening. And the thing is that here's a good way to describe it. You know that feeling when you're talking to someone and they just start looking around the room, and because they want to, you can kind of sense they want to talk to someone else, but they're just talking to you, and then you feel like shit. That's exactly what it's like when someone is talking to you and they just constantly check their phone, right? Even if they don't mean to. Even if, like, I'm sure there's been times when I've done this, right? Like, I've looked at my phone just because someone was whatever. And it's not like a cardinal sin if you do so, but at the same time, it's just, even if you don't care about... even if you just you care about having a good conversation, it can totally give the wrong message.
You gotta be socially intelligent,
right?
As
social
they say.
Intelligence. Yeah.
No, it's funny.
We're gonna repeat that about 20 times in these podcasts. And
20 times? Don't even sell yourself short.
My bad. 200 times. I apologize.
Yeah, there you go.
My bad.
Don't even
my
flip
bad.
yourself.
My bad.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you brought up the thing about checking your phone, because I'm a pretty hard person to piss off, but that's one of the few things that really does get to me. Just because I think that is like, it's become socially acceptable to do that too, where if you're having a conversation to just check your phone. But I think part of the reason people can justify that is they're like, oh, I'm checking on my other friends. I'm texting. I'm on social media or whatever.
If you check your phone in the middle of a conversation, everyone hates you. Just to know,
I gotta be
everyone.
honest. Recently, I've become aware of the fact that I have been doing that to some people.
Sure.
And
we all do it.
It's not right. I mean, it's not like I'm a serial phone checker in every conversation.
right.
Most of the time, I'm pretty good about being present at the moment and being in tune with the conversation. But recently, my work has picked up infinitely, and constantly getting emails and texts about work. So I'm like, it feels
the job you have has a 24/7 quality to it that makes it hard to not be.
So recently, when I've been talking to people, I'll notice myself, like, if my phone vibrates, I'll check the email really quick. And I know I need to stop doing it, but it's just kind of finding the balance between staying productive with my job and being able to be a social human being and talk to people.
Well, basically, Kevin, you don't have to explain yourself to us because we already don't like you. So.
We already hate you, Kevin.
I'm in
off this podcast.
Two people in this call hate me. I should feel totally open and comfortable about myself.
Right. Also, I think this is the big one. This is the huge point, is that it gives you a false sense of your self-worth, right? Like, the thing is that when I was a kid, I remember just literally, I felt like I was, that Shakespeare's quote where it's like, the world's a stage, right? Facebook was a stage for me to perform, right? Especially in high school, where popularity was essentially what I was trying to get here. And I remember I would type up a status that I was essentially the funny guy in high school. So my identity was very much at the core of being funny. And if there was a joke that landed badly, if I wasn't as funny as I could be, I would feel bad about it. And
I'd like to comment that I just confirmed this through talking to somebody that went to high school with Monish. And when I asked her what was Monish like in high school, that was her first thing, was, oh, he was like the funny guy. And he was also Indian, and people didn't really like him. He was the funny guy.
No, so it's funny because I remember just typing up statuses, and I would just wait there for 20 minutes. I'm like, is that funny enough? Is that I would backspace and I would try to word it perfectly so it would maximize likes, it would maximize just comments. And the thing was that at some point, I think I think I conflated my sense of self-worth with two things, right? Popularity and also social media performance, right? And the thing is, conflating your self-worth with your social media performance and yourself as a human being is a fundamentally very unhealthy way to view yourself, but it's also very easy to do so because there's instant feedback. You know, everyone hates to have that status, and no one likes it or no one comments on it. And the thing is that Facebook is great. We talked about how Facebook is excellent for facilitating relationships, right? But Facebook is not those relationships, right? It is a tool to help you get there, right? So this is the big point I want to bring home. If you spend most of your time on Facebook and the core of your social life is through Facebook, you're doing it wrong, right? The core of your social life,
Instagram or any other social account, yeah.
I thought you were going to be like. And instead, it should be on Instagram and it should be on Twitter, Snapchat. The core of your social life should be in real life with real people, speaking real world.
What?
No
that
way.
Get you followers, bro. That doesn't make any fucking sense.
Right.
I'm checking it out.
Yeah, and the crazy thing is that. I remember Army had this awesome quote when we were brainstorming for ideas, and he was talking about, this can go for social media, but he was like, Army was just basically said, hey, maybe when you're just watching hours of Netflix, the reason you feel shitty isn't because you're watching Netflix, but because you're so fucking alone, right? And I was like, oh, that's such a great quote, because it's like, maybe look, I've gone on hours on Facebook, and I've and then afterwards it's kind of like porn, where there's a little bit of like, fuck, just like,
I hate myself. I'm so lonely.
Right, and it hits you like a wall sometimes when you're just on. I'm not really on social media a lot now, but. I remember when I would go on for hours, and then it would be like 7 o'clock, and I would just be like, what the fuck am I doing? Right? Like, it's insane, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think I like what you said, though, about conflating social media presence with self-worth. And to me, that's probably the biggest one, is that I do have friends who essentially use whatever, Instagram, Facebook, Instagram more so with my friends, and they use that whenever they're feeling depressed about something or insecure, especially. That's usually the stuff they post about. And anyone can see this. If you look at like your Facebook feed and you see that girl or guy who's like, I just don't care what anyone says. I'm going to stay with Cindy no matter what.
I gotta say this because this is what I think will say that will help the most people. You don't have to fucking tweet Facebook or Instagram every thought in your goddamn head. Fucking love of God, please don't make a Facebook status explaining how you're feeling. I hate how people do that. Like all the subtweeting and all that stuff. Nobody gives a shit when you put your stupid thoughts out.
Most of tweeting, most of Snapchatting, we're all guilty of this, but most of everything on Facebook is people trying to signal traits about themselves, right? So you always get I used to feel like shit when people would, like, especially in high school, when people would be like, yo, just hung out with like Brittany, Jennifer, and my friend Tom, and like we had an awesome night. Like I would be like, because I didn't have close friends in high school really. I was kind of friends with everyone, but didn't really have a solid crew. And I remember, I remember just feeling like shit, right? And the problem with that, right? First off, everyone is tweeting everything or Facebooking almost everything all the time, right? There's a sense that everyone is always up to something, everyone's doing something, everyone's taking a stand, everyone's life is much more interesting than yours, right? But the problem with that is that everything on Facebook, everything on Twitter, everything on Instagram is their highlight reel. It's like if you were looking at a quarterback's performance and you just saw ESPN their top 5 moments, right? That's not an actual good indicator of what their life is actually, what the stuff their life is made up of, like. And the key problem is that we compare our insecurities with other people's highlight reels, and that causes a lot of inattention, right? That causes people to feel. I mean, there's been so many times I'm like, man, I wish I had his life. I wish I had her life, right? And that's
I've never said that to you though, because that's
right. Yeah.
Army, I totally cut your story off. I'm sorry. I don't know.
No, that's fine. Basically, it's the same thing. My point was just that generally when you see that stuff, it's always the stuff that people are most insecure about that they're posting about. So,
Right.
Whatever somebody's posting, it's like no matter what happens, Cindy and I are going to stay together. You're like, look, he's breaking up soon.
Yeah.
Or like, some dude who's constantly posting shirtless selfies.
I don't know about you, but it seems
look who
like
has
the
body
dumbest.
dysmorphia.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to talk over you.
No, that's all right. I was
It
saying
seems like-
it's always a reflection of like the stuff they're most insecure about.
Yeah.
It seems like the people who are the least thoughtful about issues are the ones that are posting the most about political opinions on Facebook. They're they're just like, I'm right and no one else is right. I'm right because I'm taking a stand. I want to signal everyone how smart I am, and then I'm just like, dude, just
that's true.
Relax,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
I made a satirical Facebook status about posting political things, and it got huge numbers on Facebook.
Way to go, man.
Yeah, I know, it's fucking raw. Definitely whacked off after it's basically.
But I think it's just like just to finish that thought though, that the main problem is when people essentially see Facebook as a substitution for like a real social life, where the focus is on Facebook rather than using Facebook to meet people or stay in touch with people you already know.
It's a tool, right? No.
Yeah, but unfortunately, people use it as a tool, I think, more just to get that immediate gratification. Like, oh my God, I'm popular because I have lots of notifications to check.
Right. Like your analogy, there's a difference between drinking with friends and downing a fifth of vodka by yourself in a room crying in the shower naked, right? There's a complete
Kevin
difference.
method versus the healthy method. Yeah.
Kevin's like, what? That's not cool.
Wait, I thought that's like what drinking is with friends.
I have friends in my head.
And dude, so Army, there's a cool way to, I think, my sister brought this up, but a digital sabbatical. I've heard about this a lot, but it's a really good litmus test to find out if you don't know what the center of your social life is. Like if you're just a confused 15-year-old, which I totally understand, or 25-year-old, whatever. Take out social media. Take out social media out of your life. Just text people and call them up. And if your life,
I wouldn't have any friends.
right, and if your life is going to shit, if you feel like your social life is non-existent, then right? Then you have a very clear barometer of what's the center of your social life and what's the thing. Also, one point I wanted to bring up was I've noticed that people do things. I've noticed that this is a trend that I've noticed recently, but people do things less because they want to do them, but more because if they take a photo of them doing it, it signals status to everyone in the friend group. And that is a huge component, especially of Instagram. This is no put down of Dan Bilzerian, but there must, must.
We don't want him thinking that we don't like him or anything.
Yeah, Dan, please come on our show.
Yeah.
No, but this is no put down of. But there is something, and I'm sure he'll admit this himself. Is that if you post things if you just post pictures of women and pictures of you doing manly things 24/7, right? And that's all you post about. There must be some part of him unconsciously or consciously that is kind of like, hey man, I'm trying to prove myself, even past, and there's a part of him that feels unproven to the world.
I went to a party. This was a while ago, but it kind of stuck out to me. Everybody's having a good time. Everybody's talking, and then there's a group of girls standing. The place I was at had a Chicago flag on the wall, and there were a group of maybe 4 or 5 girls in front of the flag, like taking pictures over and over again of them in different positions, and they were arguing with each other the entire time. Like, no, like, please, like, step back, like 3 more steps, and then they'd look at the picture and be like, I don't like this one, and it was very clear. Like, clearly, you guys are not having fun at the party.
Right.
Like, you just want to have a picture that says, like, look at me at the party with my friends and the cute Chicago flag in the background, and then and you're doing this. it took, I swear to God, I was sitting there with my friend. We were just commenting on them the entire time. Like 20 minutes of them just taking selfies in front of a fucking flag. You guys are not having fun. You're not enjoying the night. You're clearly just taking pictures so that you could post it on Instagram and get likes and self-validation through social media support, you psychopaths. Jesus Christ.
Here's the thing. It's totally cool to do bits of that, right? Because on some level, you want to be like,
Yeah.
hey, I'm doing things. I want to show my friends that I do shit.
Yeah,
I
raw
want to
as
share
fuck
with the world.
to me.
Right. But on some level, when that impulse replaces the actual reason you're going there, when you're doing things for status instead of because you actually want to do them, because I want to go to this party not because I like anybody, because it's going to be a great. Well, I want to be with this group of friends
I
because
swear
they
to
look.
God, they came out into the party. They maybe said hi to 3 people, went in front of the flag, took pictures, and then they went back into one of their rooms. That was it. What the fuck is that?
Yeah. What the fuck is it?
The fuck?
Right. Shout out to Camp Poder.
Yeah.
Any last thoughts?
Delete all social media accounts
Yeah.
except following
And
any relevant real talk posts on social media. That's it.
yeah. So basically, your Facebook feed should just be real talk, and so all
this
of your
is
friends.
everybody, delete every single one of your one by one, even your mom, grandparents, everybody.
Sorry, Dad. Sorry, Grandma. It's real talk only now. That's
Yeah, send Army Monish and Kevin a friend request. All real talk on any relevant social media, and that's all your news feed should be.
subscribe to the goddamn podcast, you cocksuckers. You're gonna listen to this for just gonna listen to this and not subscribe? How dare you? How
Yeah.
dare you?
Yeah, let's just insult the entire audience right now. What the fuck are you doing? Not following us on social media, you
How
cock.
dare you? And sign up for the email list. God damn it! All right.
Yeah. And Army sucks, by the way.
Yeah, it's true. I need more followers.
If you liked that episode, definitely subscribe to the podcast. We would love it. We'd love you forever. And rate and review. You can go on iTunes, find our podcast, and review it. It takes 15 seconds, but it helps us get on the charts and it helps us do better. I'm throwing something special here. If you review the podcast, I will give you Army's mother's phone number. That's right, guys. For the low price of one review, you can get Army's mother's phone number for the rest of your life. So review that podcast as soon as you can. We'd love it. Again, special thanks for Army for helping out with research, Kevin for helping out with editing, Vishali for helping out with content, and CJ Beats for the music. This is Real Talk, signing off.